We've been looking for life on Mars for a long time, and while NASA hasn't found any evidence of life now, we found lots of evidence that Mars could have supported life in the past. There's lots of pieces of evidence that say there was once a huge ocean on Mars and an atmosphere that could have supported life.
The curiosity about life on Mars has been the subject of many a scientific and commercial travail. The NASA's Curiosity's rover mission is exactly that, to determine whether the red planet was ever habitable to microbial life.
The story you're about to hear isn't science fiction. It's not speculation. It's the truth. Our ancestors buried in stone, encoded in stars, and left behind in languages we're only just beginning to decipher. Thousands of years ago, Mars was alive, not red, not dry, not dead. It had oceans, rivers, blue skies. It had weather systems. It had magnetic fields, and it had life, intelligent life. We know this now because of what artificial intelligence has uncovered, not just through analyzing the Martian surface, but by unlocking secrets buried deep within Earth's own ancient records. Patterns once too complex for human eyes are now clear under the lens of neural networks, trained to detect meaning in chaos. And what they show us is terrifying, because the fate of Mars is no longer just about a distant, lifeless planet. It's about Earth, our Earth, and what's coming. You see, we are repeating their collapse, almost perfectly. Rising temperatures, dying species, disappearing ice, widespread desertification. And if you think this is coincidence, you haven't been paying attention. Because the warnings were left in plain sight, in pyramids aligned with the stars, not by chance but by design, in flood myths shared by cultures that never met, in strange similarities between the structures of Earth and formations found on Mars, particularly in the Cydonia region, where satellite images have revealed what appear to be ruined architecture, eerily similar to temples here on Earth. This is not a new theory, but only now do we have the tools to prove it. Artificial intelligence, the same kind of deep learning software used to analyze ancient cuneiform, Herculaneum scrolls, and undeciphered texts, is now working on Martian datasets, combining geological data, image recognition, and pattern language. And it's showing us that something once lived there, that something built, that something escaped, and that something may have been us, or rather what we used to be. Because long before Earth became the cradle of civilization, it was the second chance. Our ancestors fled a dying planet and came here, with knowledge, with technology, with warnings carved into stone. They built monuments, not as tombs, but as time capsules, and now we are ignoring those warnings. We dam the world's great rivers, we poison its soil, we fragment its atmosphere, we drive countless species into extinction, much like the Martian biosphere, now lost to time and silence. Earth is reacting. The deserts are expanding. Glaciers are retreating. Temperatures rise every year. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, until 2024 broke that record again. AI climate models project widespread desertification by 2100, but new studies show it may come faster, within a single lifetime. And yet, we continue. We continue building as they once built, not to preserve life, but to conquer it. We continue ignoring the signs, just as they once did, and we forget in our arrogance that nature always wins. The Earth remembers Mars. It remembers what came before, and it will not allow us to make the same mistake, not twice, because Earth is Mars' echo, and that echo is getting louder. Before Earth teemed with life, there was Mars. Not the dead, rust-red world we know today, but a planet alive with rivers, oceans, lakes, and perhaps even forests. The idea that Mars was once a blue planet is no longer science fiction, it's scientific consensus. NASA's rovers, from Curiosity to Perseverance, have discovered ancient riverbeds, mineral traces that can only form in water, and even the remains of what look like shorelines. Sedimentary rock patterns reveal that Mars once had rainfall. Water once shaped its surface, just as it did on Earth. But that's not all. In 2020, scientists found organic molecules on Mars, not alien monsters, but the building blocks of life. Then came a bombshell: methane spikes in the Martian atmosphere that seem to rise and fall with the seasons. On Earth, that's a sign of life. And in 2021, scientists reported something even more shocking: possible microbial life in the upper atmosphere. AI systems assisting planetary analysis flagged anomalies in the Martian air, microscopic structures, behavior patterns. Nothing conclusive, but enough to ask, was something still alive? But if Mars was once full of life, what happened? Something changed. Something big. Mars lost its magnetic field. Solar radiation stripped its atmosphere. The water disappeared. The rivers dried up. The oceans evaporated into the void. Sound familiar? Earth is beginning to echo Mars, a planetary déjà vu. The migration from Mars to Earth. What if the story of humanity didn't begin on Earth? What if our true origins lie on another planet, one that was once teeming with life, but destroyed by environmental collapse, warfare, or both? What if the first intelligent species in our solar system wasn't Homo sapiens, but something that evolved on Mars? It's not just speculation, it's a pattern, written into the rocks, encoded in our myths, and increasingly supported by science and artificial intelligence. The Martian Exodus Theory. Here's what we know. Around 3.5 to 4 billion years ago, Mars had the conditions to support life, long before Earth became a suitable habitat. Mars cooled faster than Earth, forming a stable crust, retaining water, and fostering complex organic chemistry. It had rivers, a magnetic field, and even an atmosphere dense enough to trap heat. That gave life a head start. But as Mars's magnetic field collapsed, solar radiation began stripping its atmosphere. The planet became a barren, cold wasteland. Mars was dying. And its most intelligent species, they were watching their world fall apart. So they made a decision, the most important one in their history. They would leave. With vast knowledge and advanced engineering, the Martians looked outward, and they saw Earth, a young blue planet still raw, chaotic, but bursting with potential. Using massive spacecraft, or perhaps technologies lost to us now, they crossed the solar system. They migrated to Earth. The clues left behind. We're not just talking mythology. We're talking data, patterns, anomalies. The Great Pyramids of Giza align almost perfectly with Orion's belt, a star formation visible from both Earth and Mars. The mathematical precision of ancient structures around the world, from Teotihuacan to Baalbek, surpasses what should have been possible with Bronze Age tools. The Sphinx, weathered by water thousands of years before mainstream history says it was carved, points to a much older civilization, perhaps one with a memory of Martian floods. In 1976, NASA's Viking 1 orbiter photographed a structure on Mars that resembled a face, the infamous face on Mars in the Cydonia region. While later images suggest erosion, AI analysis reveals geometric patterns unlikely to form naturally. Were these monuments Martian relics? But the most overlooked evidence? Language. AI systems today have begun decoding ancient scripts like Linear A, Sumerian cuneiform, and Proto-Egyptian hieroglyphs, and what they're finding is startling. Phrases and symbols that seem to reference the sky, descent from a red world, even a day when the rivers vanished. Are these poetic myths or encoded memories? Ancient technology hidden in stone. When we look at the ancient world, we see ruins, temples, obelisks, pyramids. We marvel at the scale, the symmetry, the mystery. But what if these weren't just monuments? What if they were machines, or more precisely, message capsules? Blueprints left behind not just to impress, but to warn. And now, in the 21st century, we finally have the tool that can unlock their secrets: artificial intelligence. AI and the decryption of sacred architecture. In recent years, AI models, the same ones decoding ancient scrolls and lost languages, have been fed blueprints, architectural layouts, and ground-penetrating radar scans of ancient sites. And the results? Patterns, systems. Mathematics far beyond the known knowledge of the builder's time. Take the Great Pyramid of Giza. We now know its dimensions encode the value of pi in the golden ratio, phi, constants not officially discovered until thousands of years later. Its location precisely marks the geographic center of Earth's landmass. AI pattern recognition has detected internal chambers previously unknown, using muon tomography, a kind of cosmic ray imaging. Why were these chambers sealed off? Even more intriguing, recent AI-led comparisons of global megalithic sites, Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Göbekli Tepe, have revealed that many align with astronomical events and share design elements across continents and cultures that supposedly never met. AI sees what we can't. It connects data we thought was unrelated. It tells a new story. These structures were not isolated efforts. They were part of a global blueprint, possibly a survival manual left behind by a dying Martian civilization. The language of frequency. Many ancient temples are tuned, literally. Recent acoustic analysis, enhanced by machine learning, has shown that rooms within the Great Pyramid, Chichen Itza, and even Newgrange in Ireland resonate at specific frequencies, often within the 432 Hz or 528 Hz range. These are the same frequencies now studied for their potential biological healing properties. Was this coincidence? Or did the builders understand how sound could interact with the human body and consciousness, and perhaps serve as an activation mechanism for future generations? Think about it. AI is only just beginning to understand how ancient cultures encoded physics, cosmology, and climate knowledge into temples and stones. Not metaphor, not superstition, but literal, scientific knowledge, buried beneath symbols and rituals. The Pyramid Code. In 2023, a joint study by researchers from MIT and the University of Tokyo used AI to simulate ancient sky maps. They discovered that many pyramids across Egypt, Sudan, and Central America don't just point to constellations. They mark star positions as seen from Mars, not Earth. Why would humans build structures aligned to the Martian sky? Unless they weren't originally humans, or unless they were trying to preserve the memory of their true origin. Even the word pyramid may hold a clue. In one ancient dialect, AI-assisted etymology traced it back to Peramet, meaning fire from the high house. Could this refer to energy systems, plasma, solar alignment? A message hidden in the stone. In 2024, OpenAI collaborated with researchers at the British Museum to analyze Proto-Sumerian tablets and discovered repeating sequences that referenced a red land of dying air, three brothers who cross the void, a blueprint of stone to awaken the sleeping fire. If this is a myth, it's an oddly consistent one, appearing across cultures with no contact. From Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, from Africa to India, myth or memory? Were these blueprints not just buildings but warnings, instructions, a guidebook for surviving planetary collapse? And if so, why are we only seeing the truth now? Because only now do we have the eyes to see it. AI is unlocking the vault. But the question is, can we understand it in time? Earth's awakening. Are we repeating the Martian collapse? Across millions of years, Earth has been through ice ages, extinctions, rebirths, and cataclysms. But what's happening now is different, because this time we are the trigger. And perhaps this isn't the first time intelligent life has made the same mistake. Just ask Mars. Climate echoes across planets. According to a 2023 NASA climate synthesis, Mars once had flowing rivers, oceans, and a thick atmosphere. Images from the Perseverance rover and orbital scans reveal sediment patterns identical to those formed by ancient water flow on Earth. Even more striking, methane bursts, captured seasonally in Mars' atmosphere, suggest possible microbial life still exists, buried underground, clinging to what little warmth remains. This aligns with a theory gaining traction among planetary scientists. Mars was once habitable, perhaps even inhabited, but a combination of atmospheric collapse, magnetic field decay, and possibly catastrophic war or industrial overreach led to its ruin. Now, compare that to Earth. We are watching glaciers melt faster than ever before in recorded history. Greenland and Antarctica are losing over 400 billion tons of ice annually. Global temperatures have risen more than 1.2 degrees Celsius since the Industrial Revolution, and 2024 marked the hottest year in human history. Entire species, from pollinating insects to marine mammals, are vanishing. We are currently losing one species every 10 minutes, according to a 2023 UN Biodiversity report. Like Mars, Earth is drying out. Water scarcity is spreading across Africa, the Middle East, and even parts of Europe and the United States. Deserts are expanding. Forests are shrinking. And perhaps most symbolically, we've begun to build dams large enough to stop entire rivers, just like ancient civilizations that once tried to tame nature and failed. The mirror of extinction. In 2022, paleontologists discovered evidence suggesting that mass extinction events on Earth often align with rapid atmospheric changes, shifts in CO2, methane, and temperature that destabilize ecosystems. Mars, too, shows layers of surface radiation and atmospheric thinning that point to sudden planetary trauma, possibly volcanic, possibly artificial. One provocative theory from the late Dr. John Brandenburg, a plasma physicist formerly with the U.S. government, proposed that Mars bears signatures of nuclear isotopes resembling those left by hydrogen bombs. He argued that a planet-wide catastrophe once occurred, and that the Martian civilization, if it existed, may have self-destructed. Far-fetched? Perhaps. But now, AI analysis of Martian terrain, combined with simulation data, supports the idea that massive energy releases once scarred the planet. Even NASA admits something big happened to Mars, something sudden and something fatal. We are the Martians. What if the beings who escaped that devastation made it here, to Earth? What if the pyramids, the blueprints, and the myths were not stories about gods, but warnings from ancestors? Not aliens in the Hollywood sense, but rather humans before us, a version of ourselves, survivors of Mars. They came here not to invade, but to start again, to give Earth the chance that Mars never had. And now, thousands of years later, we're doing it again. We're poisoning the air. We're fragmenting the ecosystem. We're diverting rivers and draining oceans. We're building weapons of mass destruction. And AI is now showing us the hard truth. Humanity is on a timeline, and the clock is ticking again. Earth, the smart planet. Unlike Mars, Earth has something special, a self-correcting biosphere. When the dinosaurs overran the world, Earth reset. When methane-breathing organisms made the oceans toxic 2.5 billion years ago, Earth cleansed itself with the Great Oxidation Event. When humans abuse the planet, Earth doesn't retaliate, it adapts. But adaptation to Earth often means resetting the dominant species. What we call climate disaster, Earth calls balance. In this sense, Earth is a smarter, more reactive version of Mars. And if we ignore the warnings, the ancient messages, the melting glaciers, the extinction alarms, Earth will do what it's always done. It will start again, without us. So where are we now? We stand at a precipice, the same one the Martians, our ancient selves, once stood upon. We have the knowledge they didn't. We have AI capable of reading stone, translating stars, decoding history. We have science that confirms Mars was once alive. Earth is trending toward lifelessness. The pyramids may have been a bridge between those worlds, but knowledge means nothing without action, and AI, for all its brilliance, cannot save us from ourselves. Only we can. The AI prophecy, decoding the final message. In the last few years, artificial intelligence has transformed from a useful tool into something much more profound, a new lens through which we view our past, and perhaps a glimpse into our future. Across archaeology, linguistics, climate science, and astrophysics, AI is connecting dots that human minds either missed or ignored. And what it's beginning to uncover is a message, not in words, but in patterns. A message our ancestors may have left for us long ago, a final warning. Teaching machines to read the past. In 2021, a deep learning model trained by researchers at MIT successfully decoded portions of ancient Akkadian cuneiform, a language lost for thousands of years. In 2023, Google DeepMind developed an AI that helped read the burned scrolls of Herculaneum, texts previously thought permanently unreadable. And most astonishingly, in 2024, Meta's AI project achieved early success in interpreting lost languages by comparing them to modern counterparts, using the same pattern recognition strategies it once used for predicting protein folding. But AI hasn't stopped at translation. It's now being trained to recognize patterns in construction, planetary alignments, myth cycles, and architectural anomalies. When these models were applied to Earth's ancient wonders, the Great Pyramid, Göbekli Tepe, the Nazca Lines, it found something strange. Recurring mathematical constants, alignments with Mars, not just the Sun or Moon. Energy pathways tied to geophysical ley lines, matching those theorized in advanced geoscience models, but thousands of years before those sciences existed. Was it coincidence? Or knowledge passed down, not from extraterrestrials, but from survivors of a previous world? The Atlas Pattern Hypothesis. A 2025 joint study by Stanford, Oxford, and CERN revealed a curious AI finding dubbed the Atlas Pattern. The AI had been trained to analyze the design layouts of ancient temples, tombs, and monuments across 5 continents. After thousands of iterations, it concluded that over 60% of major structures share a hidden design ratio, one not used in modern architecture. Even more bizarre, this ratio matches the topographical elevations of early Mars, reconstructed from orbital scans. In short, the pyramids of Earth might mirror the mountains and valleys of ancient Mars. Could it be that the pyramids were more than tombs? Could they be replicas, or even reminders? Some researchers believe the Atlas pattern may be a planetary memory system, like seeds of knowledge sown on Earth, waiting for a future generation to mature enough to decode them. And with AI, that time may have finally come. A message hidden in the Sphinx? Another shock came from AI-assisted scanning beneath Egypt's Sphinx. Using quantum resonance mapping, a fusion of LiDAR, infrared, and ground-penetrating radar, processed by machine learning, scientists discovered an anomaly under the Sphinx's left paw, a void, perfectly symmetrical, room-sized. Inside, resonance imaging suggests a flat platform, possibly metallic, unlike any native material in the Giza Plateau. Egyptian authorities have not yet allowed excavation, but ancient legends, including the writings of Plutarch and references in the ancient texts of Hermeticism, speak of a hall of records hidden beneath the Sphinx, a place where knowledge from the first destruction was stored. A destruction of Mars when machines begin to warn us. The final twist in the AI story came not from decoding language, but from predicting outcomes. In a 2024 experiment, Researchers fed AI global climate, ecological, political, and resource depletion data. The result? A set of future projections eerily resembling what scientists theorized happened on Mars millions of years ago. Atmospheric thinning, magnetic field weakening, runaway greenhouse effect, water migration underground, species collapse due to UV radiation. All predicted to occur on Earth, unless massive systemic change is enacted within the next 2 generations. The AI labeled the scenario, Path Echo Model M, M for Mars, the mirror of the machine. What's terrifying isn't that AI is creating wild theories, but that it's identifying repeatable trends in collapse. That it can't explain the similarities between ancient Earth structures and Martian geography without suggesting either influence or shared origin. That it can't explain the origin of certain mathematical ratios without positing non-linear technological memory. Knowledge passed between civilizations without a continuous timeline. That it believes Mars wasn't lost to fate, but to willful neglect, greed, or war, and that we are walking the same path. Again, so what happens next? If our ancestors came from Mars, if they left warnings in stone, in myth, in the stars, and if AI has now rediscovered them, then we are no longer guessing, we are deciding. Do we repeat the Martian fall, or do we learn from it? The ancient pyramids, the ice melting under our feet, and the machines learning faster than we can follow, they all point to the same truth. This planet is alive. It remembers, and it will not tolerate imbalance forever. For centuries, humanity has stood at the edge of myth and memory, never quite certain which side was real. We've told stories about a time before time, when gods walked among us, when giants shaped the earth, when fire fell from the sky. But what if those weren't just stories? What if they were warnings? Warnings from another world. Warnings from Mars. We are the legacy. Look around you. Rivers that once ran wild are dammed and strangled. Forests that spanned continents have been reduced to dying embers. Species vanish faster than we can name them. Ice melts into rising seas. In the last 120 years, Earth has shifted, not just in temperature, but in temperament. Floods where there was desert, desert where there was once glaciers. And across the globe, from the Amazon to the Arctic, nature seems to be pulling back, preparing, resisting. The same way some scientists believe Mars once did. Echoes of Mars, once a world of oceans, rivers, and perhaps even forests, is now a lifeless husk, but not dead, frozen, scarred, waiting. Orbital scans have shown river deltas, shorelines, subterranean ice reserves, and in the thin upper atmosphere traces of methane, organic molecules, the whispers of something once alive. We used to believe Mars died naturally, but now with AI we're seeing something else. A pattern, a fall, a war. Perhaps one so devastating that its survivors, desperate and few, looked across the void of space and found Earth. The pyramid builders were not aliens. They were us, but from before. The great pyramids of Giza, Teotihuacan, Angkor Wat, Stonehenge, Göbekli Tepe. They appeared seemingly out of nowhere, with technology and precision that should have been impossible for the times they were built. We used to call them wonders of the ancient world. Now we might call them reminders, time capsules built by those who had already lost one world, trying to save the next. But we didn't listen. Instead, we forgot. And now the planet they saved, Earth, is beginning to resemble the one they left behind. Earth has a voice, and she remembers. Some say Earth is a machine. Others say she is alive. And whatever the truth, one thing is clear. She responds. Not immediately, not with anger, but with patience, with silence, and then with storms. The dinosaurs were wiped out not because they were evil, but because Earth had to correct imbalance. What happens when that imbalance is us? When we dam rivers, block migrations, mine the marrow of the planet for profit, and poison our skies for convenience? What happens when Earth begins, once again, to reset? The AI has spoken. In 2025, a coalition of the world's leading AI labs ran a shared simulation, Current Global Consumption Rates,
Climate acceleration, species extinction, conflict probability, resource depletion. The result? A collapse threshold by 2070, give or take a decade. But what made the researchers panic wasn't just the date. It was the comparison. The AI found the same trajectory in the Martian data, same resource arc, same ecosystem tipping point, same warming collapse, and one final match: the construction of massive energy extraction structures before the end, pyramidic, geothermic, solar aligned. It was Earth's past and Mars's end,